Former President Donald Trump is projected to be the 47th president of the United States of America. It would be the first time since Grover Cleveland and the second time ever a president has won 2 non-consecutive terms.
It has been one of the greatest political comebacks of all modern history. Donald Trump securing more than 270 electoral votes, we are projecting, flipping battlegrounds of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin red, and defending North Carolina.
So it's an incredible result after an unprecedented election cycle filled with twists and turns, including 2 assassination attempts.
And that's not to mention 2 impeachments, the legal battles, and days spent in courtrooms instead of on the campaign trail. And despite efforts from the mainstream media and Democrat elites to write him off, Trump is projected to be the 47th president of the United States. He addressed his supporters earlier this morning.
I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. Now I can say Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one.
Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country.
Wow. It's hard to put all this in perspective, but there's other major stories this morning. Republicans are set to regain control of the Senate, perhaps in a big way, ending a 4-year stretch in the minority after flipping an Ohio seat red. We have live team coverage on the historic morning. Madeline Rivera will give us an update on all the Senate races, and a huge win for Republicans, and many on the precipice of doing just that. Kevin Corke has the key issues on the ballot in different states. But first, Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House with Trump's path to victory. Lucas.
Well, good morning, Brian. As Stephen J.D. Vance said adroitly, this has to be considered the greatest political comeback in history. We knew who would win. The battleground states would win this election. And, of course, it all started with Pennsylvania. Whoever won Pennsylvania, no doubt, was going to win the race. The race was called in Pennsylvania at 1:19 a.m. No question, Trump's campaigning in the western part of the state recently helped move this race over the finish line. The state is the second largest producer of natural gas, and where fracking produces a majority of this country's energy, working class Americans helped move Trump over the finish line. Now let's move down to Georgia. The state was called for Trump at 12:48 a.m., a state Trump narrowly lost in 2020 and vital to his re-election win. It was in Wisconsin, let's go over there next, that put Trump over the edge, over the finish line, winning by 3 points and sealing the victory. Trump taking the blue walls of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And, of course, down in North Carolina, that was the first of the swing states that Trump won, setting a tone for the evening. The state was called for Trump at 11:43 p.m. Now, Arizona, moving out west, has not been called yet. We had been warned it would take days to count all the votes. And in Nevada, another state that has not been called for Trump yet, but as you can see, he's up by roughly 4 points. Same goes for Michigan. No question, Israel's war in Gaza and Lebanon played a role here. Trump is up by a few points there. Now, let's show you the map, Brian, showing President Trump's path to the 270 finish line. He's at 277 right now. We did not see the red wave during the midterms, but we see it now. And once again, there's no question that working class Americans and minorities helped Donald Trump become the second president to win non-consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland in 1892, guys.
Indeed.
Right?
All right. Thank you very much. You know, and as Lucas is standing there at the White House, you got to figure Joe Biden upstairs watching on the big screen. Joe Biden this morning is saying, I told everybody I'm the only one who could beat Donald Trump. But of course, we saw that Joe Biden who went to that debate could not beat Donald Trump.
I couldn't care less about Joe Biden. I really couldn't.
Well, he paved the way for this.
Right. He paved the way by being a terrible president. And this is what the American people said. It's not my opinion. It's not our opinion. This is a total rejection in every way. And the areas and the demographics that Donald Trump didn't win, he gained massively. If you even look at Chicago, Joe Biden, 80+% of the vote. It's now 60% for Harris. She did not outperform Biden in a single state. And for those people who said this is way too close to call and Donald Trump is blowing in at the last minute, and what about that MSG rally, and what about that comedian? You still don't understand the country.
Yeah, because when you look at the voter analysis, it tells a much different story than all the pundits that went on TV. 56% of Hispanic support for Harris, 41% for Donald Trump. I mean, that is historic when you're looking at the numbers.
Right, because Democrats live off the minority vote, but do nothing for them.
That's right.
And they're tired of it.
Look at the support that Trump had among the Latino and Hispanic voters. This went up. 4 years ago, he was getting 35%, and this year he got 41%. And then when it comes to Lawrence, you told us this was happening.
Everyone ignored this trend. We were screaming at the top of our lungs that there is a new day, and he almost doubled his support amongst all black voters, not just black males. 2020 was at 8%. At 2024, 15%. Almost doubling it.
You know, and historically, the Democrats lead with the younger voters. And in fact, last night, a lot of people on the political left were talking about how, look at the long lines at the colleges. Well, OK, there were long lines. And Kamala Harris did wind up with a majority of people under 30. Donald Trump came right behind her, just about 6 points behind. But here's the one. And this goes to a whole suite of numbers that we've got about what really had people go and push the button for Donald Trump. And that is this. In our Fox voter analysis, we talked to 110,000 people across the country. And those falling behind financially went for Trump by 63%, only about a third of the country for Donald Trump. And ultimately, the other number that is the reason he will be the next president of the United States, 70% of Americans said America is on the wrong track and they want something.
So is
new.
this the end of legacy media? Is this the end of you watching other networks and they tell you how to vote? They saw right through this. They saw right through them peddling all the lies, the conspiracy theories. This is a man who has survived so much. All of the court cases, all of the investigations, 2 impeachments, 2 special prosecutors, opposition from a chunk of his own party, including his former vice president. And last night he said at the speech, or this morning I should say, he said, everyone told me that God had a purpose for my life, that he spared me during these assassination attempts.
A couple of things come to mind. I walked in today, and I know we declared I was up at 2:05. We declared at 2:25, 2:35, around there. I watched the president's speech in the car ride in. And I thought, I was just shocked to see nobody else is declaring that Trump won. What more do you need to see?
Yeah.
The popular vote, almost every battleground state, almost impossible to catch up. In fact, as I'm walking in today, CNN has an announcement. New Jersey will go to Harris.
Yeah.
Really? That's your announcement?
And
Newsweek, yeah, go ahead.
And they know, Brian, to your point, that he's going to win this.
And the
because
popular vote.
The panic has already started to. They're blaming voters. They're saying it didn't work as it relates to. They're talking about his indictments. They're talking about everything else but what the American people said, which is the economy was the number one issue.
They want to change. The American people want
and immigration as well. And there was no response on the campaign trail to any of those issues from the Democrats.
Well, a lot of them are waiting for the Associated Press to go ahead and project.
It's a big mystery, but can I just add one thing?
Let me just finish this one thing about it. When you look at, because it goes with what I was just talking about, when you look at the big newspapers right now, to your point, Ainsley, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal all are just simply talking about the comeback, and he's on the verge. So it's on the verge until they officially declare.
So a couple of things. If you want to know how sober the country is and how detached American politicians are, in California, the crackdown on crime bill.
Yep.
Prop 34, which she says,
She
I'm
didn't
not
wanna
even
give
going
an
to
answer.
tell you what the vote is.
Yeah.
These people who are victims of smash and grab, small business owners, those people that don't feel comfortable going out of their house, going to a theater or wherever, stealing their car, whatever it is, they called in California to crack down on crime. I think that says so much about the country.
That Kamala Harris wouldn't admit how she voted.
And it's no big deal, according to Senator Murphy. It's no big deal.
Right.
It's no big deal. She doesn't want to tell everyone
that to the
that
voters.
she's tough on crime. Well, the voters have demanded that the candidate tell them what they will do, as opposed to, I am going to be joyful, I'm going to be happy, and that should be enough. I'm younger, and I'll be different, but I won't do anything different.
Well, there were a bunch of propositions and amendments on the ballot, including a lot the pot and abortion down in Florida. We're going to talk all about the various other ballot initiatives in a little bit. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.